Okay, we're going to look at the analog joystick in this problem here, and you can see the wiring is, they've got five wires that go into the thing. Again, this is powered by a 5-volt, that's the red one, and a ground, which is the brown one here, so those are the top two here, okay? Then we basically, you can see I have basically up and down, left to right, right, which basically correspond to your X and Y axis. That's the red and the the orange and the yellow axis that are going into A1 and A0 over here. These are analog inputs as opposed to digital inputs. The digital input will be basically like the switch, which if you push on this, it actually is a button as well. Okay, so you can take that into account. So that's the wiring, ground, 5-volt, X and Y axes, and then the button that we're looking at. Now, as far as the code goes, basically we set up a couple of variables for the switch pin, the X pin, and the Y pin. So again, you've got the button, the horizontal, and the vertical axis. Okay. Then in our void setup, okay, we want basically, again, pin 2, the switch pin, to be an input. Okay. We'll start that off as high, and then we set, but now we don't have, the analog inputs don't actually need to be kind of defined, okay, because they're not digital. We don't, the computer is just going to be reading whatever it sees coming in. Okay, so those analog inputs are just read directly without having to input the switch. Okay, so what we do here is we're going to then output, and basically the first thing it outputs is, hey, is that button pushed or not, right? It does a digital read and it prints that off of the button. So if it's not pushed, I believe it puts out 1. If it is pushed, it puts out 0. Okay. And then you can see it has the x-axis where it does an analog read of the X pin. Again, we don't have to set that up. We have that X pin set to A0, Y pin set to A1. So then it'll also show the Y-axis analog read of the Y pin. Then it waits a half a second and does it again. So if I start the serial monitor, you can see it's pushing this all through like so. And you can see that if I push the button, for example, it's going to switch that 1 to a 0. And a few zeros come through, I let go, it goes to 1. Now if you see that I go all the way to one side, the x-axis goes to 1022. If I go to the other way, it goes to 0. If I pull down, you see the y-axis goes to 0, up, the y-axis goes to 1020, and I can move, and it's all number of values in between. If I go just a little bit, you can see, and I can go up to one corner or another corner. It all just kind of depends what we're working on, and it's basically reading in that analog input depending on how far I push one way or another. So you can get that analog read of that, and again, the button is a digital read. Basically, either it's pushed or it's not pushed.